What would you eat if you had almost nothing left? No money, no real food, just whatever you could stretch one more day. For many people today, it's almost unthinkable to eat the way Americans once survived. Not because there wasn't enough food, but because for them, it was often the only way to stay alive in a completely different reality. A reality shaped by the Great Depression and the years that followed, where $10 had to last an entire week, where food had to stretch further than it should, and where one pot had to do everything. For years, one man lived on the same one-pot meal almost every night, not because he wanted to, but because he had no choice. And somehow, he said he felt better and more energetic than most men half his age. That meal is number 4 on this list. Another costs less than $1, and one was created by someone too exhausted to cook anything else. So when food stopped being a choice and became something you depended on just to get through the day, what were people actually eating when this was all they had left? Here are 10 one-pot meals people relied on when money was tight and options were limited. Some of these will seem almost shocking, not because they're complicated, but because of how little they required. These weren't meals built for balance or nutrition. They were built for one thing: to put something in your stomach and get you through the day. And yet, a few of them might still make more sense today than we'd like to admit. So let's start at number 10. Tomato and bread soup. This was the meal people made when there was almost nothing left. No fresh food, no meat, no plan for tomorrow. Just stale bread, a can of tomatoes, and water. You tore the bread into rough chunks and dropped it straight into the pot. No measuring, no preparation, just whatever you had left. As it simmered, something changed. The bread softened, broke apart, and slowly thickened the liquid into something heavier, something that actually felt like a meal. What started as scraps turned into something warm, filling, and enough. This wasn't about flavor. It wasn't about cooking. It was about taking the last things in your kitchen and making sure you didn't go to bed hungry. Number 9, potato and onion stew. This was the kind of meal that didn't ask much from you. And that was the point. 2 potatoes, 1 onion, a little butter, or whatever fat was left in the pan, water, salt, that was it. You sliced everything thin, dropped it into one pot, and let it sit on the stove. No rush, no precise timing, nothing to get wrong. As it cooked, the potatoes slowly broke down, thickening the broth on their own. The onion softened, almost disappearing into it. What came out wasn't impressive. It wasn't something you would serve to guests, but it was warm. It was filling, and it was enough to carry you through the night. This was the kind of meal people made when cooking started to feel like too much, when standing too long hurt, when energy mattered more than taste. It didn't ask for skill. It didn't ask for effort. It just worked. Number 8, egg drop soup. This was the kind of meal you made when there was almost nothing left to work with. No vegetables, no meat, no real ingredients, just water and a couple of eggs. You brought the water to a boil, maybe added a bouillon cube if you had one. Then you cracked the eggs into a cup, stirred them for a few seconds, and poured them in. That was it. Within seconds, the eggs turned into thin ribbons floating in the hot liquid. No chopping, no waiting, no effort. It was done almost immediately. It didn't look like much. It didn't feel like a full meal. But it was hot. It was soft. And it was something. This was the kind of food people made when they didn't have the energy or the time or anything else left to use. Number 7. Lentil and carrot stew. This was one of the cheapest meals you could make, even by the standards of its time. A cup of dried lentils, a couple of carrots, an onion, water, that was enough. No meat, no extras, nothing expensive. You put everything into one pot and let it cook. The lentils didn't need soaking. They softened quickly, breaking down into something thick and heavy. The carrots added a little sweetness. The onion gave it just enough depth. And somehow, it worked. What started as a handful of dry ingredients turned into something that could actually fill you up. This wasn't about making something good. It was about making something that lasted. A pot like this could carry you through more than one day. And sometimes, that was all that mattered. Number 6. Cabbage and sausage. This was the kind of meal you would smell before you ever saw it. In poorer immigrant neighborhoods, dishes like this showed up again and again. Not because people shared recipes, but because they were working with the same limits. Cabbage, a bit of sausage, one pot. That was enough to put something together. As it cooked, the smell filled the room first. Warm, salty, almost comforting. The kind of smell that made it feel like there was more food than there actually was. It wasn't a complicated dish. It wasn't something you planned. It was something you made because it worked. Because it came together without effort. Because it didn't ask for much. And because, at the end of it, you had something hot on the table. That felt like a real meal. Number 5. Rice and canned chicken. This was the kind of meal you made when going to the store wasn't simple. When the nearest shop wasn't down the street, but miles away. When you didn't go out for groceries every few days, you stocked up and made it last. A can of chicken, a cup of rice, maybe a can of soup if you had one. Everything went straight into one pot. No prep, no planning. Just open, pour, and wait. As it cooked, the rice absorbed everything. The liquid, the salt, whatever flavor was there. What started as separate shelf-stable ingredients turned into something warm, thick, and steady. This wasn't about freshness. It wasn't about variety. It was about knowing that when you opened your cabinet, there would still be something there. Number 4. Depression stew. Some people didn't make this once in a while. They made it again, and again, and again. The same pot, the same ingredients, the same meal every single night. Ground meat, potatoes, a can of vegetables, water. Nothing changed. Because it couldn't. You put everything into one pot and let it cook until it thickened into something steady. Something predictable. And that was the point. When money was tight, you didn't experiment. You didn't try new things. You made what worked. There are stories of people who lived on meals like this for years. Not because they wanted to, but because it was the one thing they knew would carry them through the next day. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't different. But it was always there. And sometimes that mattered more than anything else. Number 3. Chicken thighs and rice. For a long time, this wasn't the popular choice. Most people wanted chicken breast. Cleaner, leaner, more proper. Which meant everything else cost less. Chicken thighs were cheaper, so that's what people bought. They went into one pot with rice, a little broth or water, and whatever seasoning was around. Nothing complicated, nothing planned. But as it cooked, something unexpected happened. The fat from the chicken slowly melted into the rice. The grains absorbed it, along with all the flavor. And what came out wasn't plain at all. It was rich, soft, deep in a way no one really expected. Back then, this was just the cheaper option. Today, it doesn't feel that way anymore. Dishes like this show up in home kitchens, in meal prep plans, even on restaurant menus. The part people used to ignore, quietly, became the better one. Number 2, pinto beans and cornbread. This wasn't just a meal, it was something people counted on. As long as you had a bag of beans and a bit of cornmeal, you knew you were going to eat. No guessing, no worrying about tomorrow. The beans went into a pot early and stayed there for hours. Slow heat, no attention needed. They softened, thickened, and turned into something heavy and steady. The cornbread baked alongside. Simple, filling, just enough to stretch everything further. This wasn't about variety. It was about certainty. You didn't need a full kitchen. You didn't need fresh ingredients. You just needed to know that when the day ended, there would still be something waiting for you. Number 1, chicken soup. This was never just a meal. It was what people made when someone wasn't feeling well, when the house was quiet, or when going out for food simply wasn't an option. Sometimes the nearest store was too far. Sometimes there wasn't money to go back again. And sometimes you just worked with whatever was already in the cupboard. If there was fresh chicken, you used it. If there wasn't, a can would do. A can of chicken, water, whatever vegetables were left. Everything went into one pot and stayed there. Slowly, the broth came together. It deepened. It warmed the entire space around it. The smell filled the house first, long before the food was ready. Then when it was done, it wasn't just something to eat. It was something you could sit with. Something that made the room feel less empty. This wasn't about having the best ingredients. It was about having something warm when everything else felt uncertain. So now I'd really like to ask you something. What did meals look like in your family? What do you remember from childhood? Something simple your parents or grandparents used to make. Maybe something that didn't look like much, but you still remember the taste of it. Did you recognize any of these meals? And do you still make something like this today? Because for a lot of people, these weren't just recipes. They were routines. They were habits. They were part of everyday life. And sometimes, the simplest food is the kind that stays with you the longest. Thank you for watching. And if this video made you remember something, or see these meals a little differently, subscribe to the channel. There's more like this